Okay, let's see here. Share this on Twitter. Greetings, fellow in time and space. It's your host, TheAmariaShadow, and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back once again to some more of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. We're going to be starting episode 4, Turnabout Beginnings, today. So without further ado, let's get started right away to today's adventure and see what's in store for us. Allons-y! This is probably going to be a short episode because episode 4 is by far, I think, the shortest episode. Well, one of the two shortest episodes in Trials and Tribulations, because basically now that we're in episode 4, the true story of Trials and Tribulations actually begins. It's like we had the first episode that introduced Mia Fey, Faye's character into this game, and now we're going back to another Mia Fey case in this one, and then episode 5 will be the final episode that kind of completes Mia Fey's story. So let's see what we get into today. The girl. Let her go! Shut up! Come closer, and I kill her! Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. I'm reading through the file of an old court case. It was the first case of my longtime mentor, Mia Fey. Fugitive data. Picture. Name, Terry Falls. Charge, kidnapping and murder. Sentence, death penalty. Fugitive movements. After escaping, Falls met with and then murdered Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, recaptured on Eagle Mountain about 8 hours after his escape. Her very first client was a death row inmate who had recently broken out of prison. That was a whole year before me and I ever met. Six years earlier, Mia Fey, first trial. February 16th, 9:24 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 4. Ugh, I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm going to die. I never should have accepted this case. Good morning! Don't be so jumpy, Mia. I didn't do nothing. I swear, I didn't kill nobody. Terry Falls, my first client, sentenced to death 5 years ago, and now a prison escapee. Just relax, Mia. Make small talk. I tried to relax them. So why did you escape anyway? I'm sorry! I'm sorry! I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. I didn't escape from nowhere. But Mr. Falls, the police just recaptured you 2 days ago. Ugh. Sorry, I told a little lie. Oh boy. But anyway, I didn't do it. I never killed nobody. I'm sorry for asking, but you're on death row, right? I'm really, really sorry. They sentenced me to die 5 years ago. But I was tricked, I tell you. That woman, she lied in her testimony. That's why I got the death penalty. I swear it. I didn't kill her. I could never do that. 2 days ago, he escaped from the police wagon when it crashed. Then about 8 hours later, a policewoman was murdered before the police could recapture him. The police believe that Terry Falls did it. After you escaped, did you meet a policewoman? Yeah, I did. She's the reason I escaped. So that much is true. He didn't meet with the victim. But I didn't kill her! She was alive when I left. She was alive! It's true! I can trust him, right? I mean, I should. Ha! Hello, Godo. You're not going to figure out the truth by just staring at the guy. Why are you here? I came to see how our little kitten was doing all alone in the big scary lion's den. I thought maybe you'd like someone to play with. Where is Mr. Grossberg? Ha! That old man is probably still in bed. I bet he's clutching an empty bottle and mumbling in his sleep. Aren't I good enough? After all, it's me, Diego Armando. I didn't say! So, Diego Armando, the finest attorney at Grossberg Law Offices is here for me. No. You got it all wrong. Today, you're the finest. After all, it took an amazing amount of guts to take this case. Imagine, an escaped death row convict for a first client. Yeah, thanks. I sure wish I could get out of it, though. Ha! Relax, I just heard some good news. The prosecutor for today is fresh out of his diapers as well. Really? However, unlike a certain somebody who I won't mention, he's earned a reputation as a genius since beginning his law career. Genius? Well, it's about time to head in, kitten. Sharpen those claws of yours. It's go time! A solitary confinement cell for the condemned must be the world's loneliest place. And that's what my client ran away from. Every other lawyer gave up on him, but not me. When I saw those overflowing eyes and heard that simple childlike voice, I just had the feeling that he was telling the truth. February 16th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom Number 4. Court is now in session for the trial of Terry Falls. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. I understand the lawyers... Yes, Your Honor. I'm Mia Fey. Miles Edgeworth, Your Honor. So you're the new prosecutor everyone is talking about, eh? They say you joined the prosecutor's office at quite an early age. At 20, Your Honor. I guess the little kitten hasn't earned herself much of a reputation yet, huh? Come on, Mia, you can't lose. Not to someone younger than you. Young people running a trial. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Now then, the defendant in this case is currently a felon on death row. 2 days ago, he escaped from a police wagon. Is that correct? Precisely. But the defendant is not on trial for escaping prison. On the day that the defendant escaped, a policewoman was murdered. So we're here to determine if Mr. Falls was responsible for her death? You got it, kitten. Well then, Mr. Edgeworth, let's hear your opening statement. Yes, Your Honor, it was 5 years ago. The defendant, Terry Falls, was sentenced to death in this very court. His crimes were kidnapping, extortion, and murder. The girl he threw off the bridge was only 14 years old. A truly horrible crime, I remember it well. There was no decisive evidence, so the trial was long and protracted. Correct, but in the end, what finally decided the case was a certain witness's testimony. A witness's testimony? The testimony of Detective Valerie Hawthorne, the person who confronted this criminal. She arrested Mr. Falls at the scene and later testified against him. She says she witnessed Mr. Falls throw his young victim into the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered, so Miss Hawthorne's testimony was the one that put him away. That policewoman you just mentioned, that wouldn't be exactly the victim. It's same woman that was killed 2 days ago. Police Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne. Aha! I see. The man who was sentenced to death based on her testimony escaped 2 days ago. With only one thing on his mind: to take revenge against the woman who convicted him. Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now. Huh? Yes. It's quite obvious that the defendant is guilty. Wait a minute, that's not right! At least hear the case before you decide on the outcome, Your Honor. Watch yourself, Miss Faye. I'm not sure I care for your word choice or your tone of voice. Young people these days simply don't know how to respect their elders. Why, you're even younger than me, you hypocrite! Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, please call your first witness. I called the detective who was in charge of the initial investigation of this case. Witness, state your name and occupation. Gumshoe, Dick Gumshoe. I'm the homicide detective in charge of the case, sir. I finally got promoted to the detective division half a year ago. I don't believe anyone asked you about that. Hey, ma'am, you got any idea how much work it takes? What is it? You're really gorgeous. Excuse me? No, seriously, my heart is aching for you. Detective, pull yourself together and try to be professional. Otherwise, I'll write you up on a contempt so quick that something other than your heart will ache. Okay, I got it. Bro, Detective Gumshoe had the hots for Mia? Now, Detective, tell us about the incident. Yes, sir, right away. The victim was Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, a veteran on the police force. She was stabbed in the back with a knife and died from excessive blood loss. That much is already stated in the autopsy report. The court would like to hear more details about the incident itself. Yes, sir, I gotcha. Okay, let's take a look at this aerial map of the area here. This is a sketch of Dusky Bridge, an old suspension bridge, and the river that runs under there is Eagle River. The victim and the defendant met there, on top of the bridge. After stabbing her in the back, the killer carried the victim back to his car. He was recaptured at a police checkpoint as he was trying to make his getaway. I see. Was the victim's blood found on the bridge? The victim, Sergeant Valerie Hawthorne, was wearing a thick coat, sir. Unfortunately, no traces of blood were found on the bridge. Mr. Edgeworth, I warn you that I absolutely despise conjecture. If there was no blood on the bridge, then you have no proof that they even met there. Your Honor? If you will listen to the testimony we have prepared, I'm sure you'll be convinced. Wow, I'm paying closer attention to Edgeworth's model here. You could tell that and this version of Edgeworth here is actually younger than the one that we know. Just from how he's drawn. He looks way different than the one that we knew in the first game. The two of them most certainly did meet on the bridge that day. Why, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm not sure I like you wagging your finger at me as though I was some hoser. Detective, proceed with your testimony. Yes, sir. Here we go, Mia. Hang on. Okay, now, listen carefully, kid. One little mistake and this guy will drink you for morning tea. Trust me and get ready. On the day of the incident, an unknown person phoned the sergeant and asked to meet. Sergeant Hawthorne went to Dusky Bridge at the designated time and met with Mr. Falls. And that's where she was brutally murdered, sir. The criminal stuffed her body into his car trunk and tried to make a getaway. Mr. Falls was arrested at a police checkpoint we set up at the base of the mountain. Well, you certainly have established the importance of the bridge. Naturally. Now, will the defense please hurry up and proceed with the cross-examination? Yes, Your Honor. Cross-examination. Coming right up. Hey, settle down there, kitten. If you keep trembling like that, you're going to make me spill my coffee. I'm not trembling. It's just cold in here. The courtroom can be a cold battlefield, all right, especially for a beginner. I don't need you to worry about me. I mean the defendant, the witness, everyone's a beginner in here. Ha! You got me there. Maybe you should keep your claws out and show them what you've got, kitten. It's okay, Mia. Stay calm. Just remember those court procedure videos you stayed up all last night watching. Give me a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's press this. This unknown person. You have no idea who it might be, right? Sorry, but I'm afraid I do. What? The one who called Sergeant Hawthorne was the defendant, Terry Falls. What? The defendant called her. Sergeant Hawthorne was a very thorough person, sir. She left a note about her phone call with Mr. Falls. A note? Yeah, a top secret memo that she left at her desk. According to this note, it seems the one who called her to the bridge was indeed the defendant, Terry Falls. Whose bright idea was it to keep that note from me? Looks like the judge is even more sure of his verdict now. Listen up. Never ask a question if you don't already know the answer. It's that detective's fault. He's the one that said unknown person. Hey now, don't make that face at me. I just said it that way because the prosecutor told me to. What's that? A trap? With that cute face, I didn't expect him to be so sneaky. February 14th, Falls at that 4:30 p.m. at that bridge. Wear a white scarf for identification. White scarf. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. The Falls had a car then. Well, that bridge is way up in the mountains, ma'am. The defendant and the victim both went up there by car. I mean, how else, right? What? You mean the defendant drove his own car? Oh, no, of course not. It was stolen. He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light. Car thieves. I'm not sure I feel like a car thief. Is this guy sure about how he feels about anything? This is a photo of the stolen car's trunk. Naturally, that's the body of Valerie Hawthorne in there. Whoa, that doesn't look too comfortable. The victim, she was stabbed in the back, correct? Yeah. Ha! For some reason, men always seem to get stabbed in the back. We're talking about a woman here. You can't tell from this photo, but the knife was stuck in her back, nice and firm. The condition of the body when it was discovered is very important information. Detective, was there anything strange or noteworthy in the trunk of the car?
Objection!
Witness! What is it? Do you have something to say, Miss Wright? I'm sorry. I totally forgot what I was going to say. This is the first time I've ever had to actually address someone like that. You should have practiced before coming to court. Honestly, Miss Wright, I'm not sure I like this. Say there, little kitten. Want a piece of my coffee candy? Candy? Well, you're still too young to be drinking real coffee. Come on, Mia, shake it off. You're a lawyer. Detective. Yes, ma'am. This photo. You said there was nothing peculiar about it. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what I said. Well then, I suggest you take another look at the note written by the victim. The note? It very clearly says, wear white scarf for identification. The caller must have forgotten what the victim looked like, thus this special request. I have one very simple question for you, Detective. Where is the white scarf? I can't seem to find it in this photo. Well, to be honest, we didn't find it in the trunk, ma'am. And you stopped there? You should have looked for it! Ah! caller told her to where to identify herself, so I expect she did just that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this? I see the defense is a little lacking. The scarf you are searching so desperately for. Is it this one, perchance? Ah! Where did you find that, sir? On Dusky Bridge. I was there first and decided to conduct my own investigation. But why? Why didn't you tell me? I made a decision to keep all pieces of evidence in my personal satchel. It's the safest place I know. That hotshot sure has a flair for the dramatic. It's not exactly white, as the caller requested, but as you can see, it's close enough for what it was intended for. Looks like it spent some time in the mud. Not surprising, it was drizzling on the mountain that day. Prosecutor Edgeworth, he was intentionally hiding that scarf the whole time! The court will accept the scarf into evidence. Now, if the attorney for the defense is finished embarrassing herself, I'd like to move on with the testimony. That is alright with you, isn't it, Miss Faye? Boy, would I like to wrap this scarf around his smarmy little neck. Very good. Now, if we're done with this mud-covered scarf business, the prosecution moves to establish conclusively and with hard evidence that Miss Hawthorne and Mr. Falls did indeed meet on that bridge that day. Further, we will show exactly what occurred there. That sounds quite promising. I can't wait to hear all about it. Everything is moving at his whim. Don't forget, kitten, there's a reason why everyone considers this kid a genius. A genius, huh? Actually, there's an eyewitness who was there when the incident took place. This photo was accidentally taken by the witness. It shows the Vic wearing a scarf, sir. It was drizzling that day. Unfortunately, it's a little hard to see what's going on. Anyway, the criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. That must have been when the scarf fell off. Looking at this photo, you really get the sense that this bridge is very high up. It is about a 40-foot drop from the bridge to the Eagle River down below. Mr. Edgeworth, who took this photo anyway? Let's just say that it was a well-intended third party. Aha! A potential witness! So why isn't this person in the courtroom? Well, they said they absolutely did not want to testify. The person in question is very delicate, Your Honor. Besides, as long as we have this photo, we see no reason to compel them to testify. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So, as you can see, Terry Falls had both the motive and the opportunity. I think it's quite clear at this point what happened on that bridge. Aha! The truth is becoming clear to me now. Huh? Yes, it's quite obvious. He's clearly guilty. Not again! That's not fair! I haven't even done my cross-examination yet! What do you mean, Is that part of the witness's testimony as well? Of course it is. He pushed the victim hard in the back and she fell down right on her stomach. I remember that happening once myself. It was really brutal. Are you talking about seeing someone get pushed, or were you the one getting pushed? It doesn't mean that you pushed someone down like that one. With his mind-boggling tales and the way he said brutal, I wonder if he's Canadian. Ha! Maybe a nasty look for the right person. Huh? Take a look. Poor baby. The court record seems to have wet itself. Huh? Hey! Watch where you spill your coffee! The court record, huh?
Objection!
So at the time of the crime, there was a light drizzle coming down, correct? Yeah, and fog too. Just a generally foggy atmosphere. Well, I have evidence that doesn't go with with the soggy atmosphere. But this is a photo of the victim's body that was found in the car trunk. Considering the conditions at the scene of the crime, something isn't right. Well, by all means, please enlighten us as to what isn't right. What is it about this photo of the trunk that doesn't fit with the conditions that day? The coat is dry. Naturally, the answer is right here. The victim's coat? As far as I can see, there is nothing strange about it. That's exactly what's strange. Recall the testimony. What were the conditions on the bridge that day? It was drizzling and foggy. Dusky bridge was all wet. If the victim really had fallen down on her stomach on top of the bridge, then the front of her coat should have been covered in mud! Ugh. That's exactly right! The other day I fell on a muddy street and my gorgeous playoff beard was befouled! I do admit that the crime scene was quite wet that day. However, that doesn't mean that the top of the bridge itself was muddy. If Your Honor had fallen in the shower instead of on a muddy street, the glorious hockey beard prior to the legal league would be wet but not muddy. Fortunately, I have yet to test that. Still, your point is well taken. Can you prove that the surface of the bridge was muddy that day? The surface of the bridge, huh? Ha! A real man wouldn't stand for a song like this. Neither would a real woman. Of course I can. Here's the evidence that proves the surface of the bridge was muddy. The evidence is this scarf. Ah! It should be obvious. If the scarf fell onto the bridge and got pretty muddy, it means that the bridge was obviously covered in mud. Ugh! No, I can't be outwitted by this novice bimbo. Hey, same to you, buddy. Miss Faye's assertion makes perfect sense to me. I do admit that there appears to be a contradiction between the condition of the victim's coat and her scarf. However, the real question is, why is there a contradiction? Huh? For every contradiction, there exists an explanation. Let's look at the explanation in this case, maybe, shall we? Alright. It's not like he's really giving me a choice here. Ha! You're doing pretty well, poor little kid. Mr. Armando! No matter what he says, a contradiction always comes down to a lie. Is either the victim that's covered in the trunk, the witness's photo showing the defendant and the victim, or the witness's testimony that states she saw the moment of the murder. Just relax and think it over. It's pretty simple, isn't it? The false evidence. It's one of those three. What you said just now, I'm not sure I like that. But that wasn't me, Your Honor. It was the coffee aficionado over here that said it. This court is not in the habit of accepting false evidence, you know. Blame it on him, Your Honor. He's the one trying to slip false evidence into court. But we won't let him. We'll expose his evidence as the flimsy scam it really is. Yes! The false evidence in this case is the witness's testimony. It is a no-brainer. Obviously, it's the witness that's suspicious. During his earlier testimony, the detective pointed out a crucial fact. The criminal shoved the victim down from behind and stabbed her in the back. Now, is that testimony exactly what the witness claims to have seen? Yeah, that's what the witness told us. That testimony is filled with holes. After all, the victim's coat isn't dirty at all. That's true. Ha! It's not just true, it's the truth. If there was a truly decisive witness in this case, I'm certain that boy Wonder over there would have called them in the first place. Your Honor, the defense requests to cross-examine the eyewitness. The testimony presented so far is not only vague, but contradictory as well. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, it appears that we'll need to hear from your mystery witness after all. You should brace yourself for the brutal truth. Your Honor, the prosecution has no intention of hiding the witness from the court. We are prepared to present our witness at any time. Very well. Please bring forth your witness at this time. What Mr. Edgeworth said kind of worries me. What does he mean by the brutal truth? Now, let's proceed with the testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, please go right ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution summons the woman who saw the events the day with her very own eyes. This is it, Mia. The battle begins here. Witness, what is your name and occupation? Hello, Dahlia. Everyone is so silent that I can hear their hearts going pitter-patter. Oh, when I look at you, how can I put it? You look as scrumptious as a double-double and a dozen donut holes. I feel like I want to hurry up and hand down a verdict just to have a bite. Hey, not so fast! As I said before, this witness is very sensitive and delicate. I would ask the court to please exercise care when addressing her. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. You are a true gentleman. Miss Faye, you could learn a lot from this man. If he's such a gentleman, he sure doesn't act like one to me. Sir? Yes, my dear? This is my first time, so I'm sure I'll make a lot of mistakes. Anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for all the trouble I might cause. Not at all! There's no trouble at all. Now then, may we please have your name and occupation? My name is, Melissa Foster. I'm a college student, a freshman in the literature department. You were on the scene when the unfortunate event occurred, correct? And you were the one who took this photo? Is that accurate? Ah! How can you be so mean? Now see here, what are you doing shoving that in her face like that? Huh? But it's just a photograph. It's not like it's something dangerous. Next time I'll be forced to penalize you. Uh-oh, I don't like the turn this has taken. Is she staring at me? And you would be... Huh? I'm the defense attorney. My name is Mia Faye. I see. So you are... Now then, young lady, could you please give us your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I'll do my best. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wild flowers. Then, I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly, they just started fighting. That's when I hurried and took a photo that shows the crucial moment. And right after that, I called the police. By the way, where were you standing when the incident occurred? I believe the map would be of help here. I was standing right over here. I was standing in a beautiful field surrounded by tall cliffs. So you took the photo from that location, eh? I brought the camera I was using at the time, just like Mr. Edgeworth asked me to. Oh, what a cute camera, just like its owner. Alright then, Miss Faye. Time for your cross-examination. But I warn you, make the witness cry again and you'll feel the wrath of my gavel.
Objection!
Witness, when you said you took a photo of the crucial moment, is this what you meant? All I can see in this photo are two people facing each other. You testified that you saw the two of them starting to fight. Normally, that's the kind of thing we would refer to as a crucial moment. Why haven't you presented a photo like that? Well, you see, the photo we presented was the only one there was. But if you really wanted to capture the crucial moment, then what happened next? You must have taken a photo of it. Oh. My apologies, young lady. So this Faye's assertion is not without a certain amount of merit. He can certainly downplay a situation, can't he? I'm sorry. I'm a very bad girl. I used it all up. The film, I mean. You ran out of film? This photo was the last one. What? Unfortunately, that is the truth. I personally examined all the photographs she took that day. All the other photos are of the witness herself playing among the wild flowers. The witness herself? Then who took the photos? Well, you see, my camera has a timer feature built into it. So you took photos of yourself? I remember taking some photos of myself once too. Please, no details. It seems that Miss Faye's assertion was not so decisive after all. Wait! Just a minute! Well, if she had no film left, she couldn't very well take more pictures, eh? Miss Foster, perhaps then you could tell us about a different sort of photo. Photos of the incident that you took with your very own eyes. Mr. Edgeworth, you're quite the poet. Very well then, let's get back to the cross-examination. Let's hear your thoughts on the fight that you witnessed. Yes, Mr. Judge. Boy, this guy is really a sucker for sweet talk. Ha! It looks like the other kitten in the room is the one that's getting all the attention. Yeah, it's sickening. I was using my camera to take some pictures of wild flowers. Then I noticed there were two people standing up on the suspension bridge. Suddenly, they just started fighting. The victim turned around and tried to run away, but... Excuse me?
Objection!
Excuse me? No! She couldn't have! Witness, your testimony is a joke! Huh? What? But I just... Miss Faye, I thought I warned you not to make the witness cry! One short testimony and two bad contradictions. There's no possible excuse. Say there were two contradictions? It's simple. Let's take a look at the diagram of the area. According to her testimony, the two of them were in the middle of the bridge. But if they were, and the victim had turned around and tried to run, well then, she would have hit a dead end! You said 10 yards, but she couldn't even have ran even 5, because Dusky Bridge is collapsed on that side! Ah! What does all this mean? It's very simple, Your Honor. This charming little witness told a charming little lie. That's all there is to it. This beautiful young lady has been lying to the court? Just a moment, Your Honor. But Mr. Edgeworth! Your Honor, allow me to personally apologize for the confusion. What do you mean? There's one major mistake in this diagram. What did you say? What are you referring to? It's all because this diagram was made after the incident occurred. It's a very old bridge. We couldn't find any official blueprints of it. So you're saying... I'm saying that even though this bridge is currently in disrepair, there's no evidence that can prove that the bridge was broken during the incident. That's ridiculous! You can't actually tell the condition of the bridge from this photo. I apologize to the court for not being more clear when I presented the evidence. Ah, that guy is good. Huh? What do you mean? He planned it from the beginning. He's a genius, alright. That diagram of the bridge was his insurance policy. What? That coward! Well, Miss Faye, it seems you've once again made a reckless accusation. I'm so sorry. I should have been more careful myself. No. It wasn't your fault at all. Now then, shall we go on with the trial? I'd like to establish, once and for all, what it was that the witness actually saw. Indeed. Alright, young lady. May I ask you to please proceed with your testimony? But it's so hard to go on. We're all on your side, Miss Foster. There's no need to worry. Just tell us what you saw. Yes, sir. After he stabbed her in the back, he quickly picked her up in his arms. Then he carried her over to the car. I suppose that was the only way he could make sure the body stayed hidden. He couldn't just leave the body on top of the bridge. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only supposed to talk about what I saw. Witnessing such violence must have been difficult. Yes, sir. I'm still shaken up. If he accepts this testimony as it is, we're finished. Don't say that! Oh well. Maybe I'll stop off at my favorite cafe on the way home and make a really great mocha latte. This trial isn't over yet! Ha! That's what I like to hear. Alright, Miss Faye. Your cross-examination, if you please. The contradiction is staring you right in the face, Mia. Go on the attack!
Objection!
A killer not wanting his victim to be found. I can understand that. However, the idea of moving the body for that purpose is clearly odd. There was a much easier way to make sure the body wasn't found. Well, what is it? Take another look at the map of the area and you'll see how. There's a river right below the bridge. Earlier, Mr. Edgeworth pointed out something interesting about the river. For those who are not aware, Eagle River is well known for its powerful current. Most bodies that fall in are never recovered. Ah! In the kidnapping case 5 years ago, the victim's body was carried away and never found. If 10 murders were to occur at that same spot above the Eagle River, you could bet your boots that every other killer would have tossed the body in the water! Order! 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 I'm not sure if I care for the way you put that, Mrs. Faye, but I must admit it does seem odd not to have thrown the body into the river. Ugh. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? How sad. Perhaps Miss Faye would do well to try taking a dip in the river herself. After all, you claim to be such an expert in the ways of nature. What are you talking about? My point is that no matter how odd you may find the killer's method of body disposal, the fact is that this is what the killer did. None of your arguments have anything to do with what the witness saw. Quite true. Miss Faye, it seems that your assertion is without merit after all. But what the witness claims to have seen is totally ridiculous. Surely you can't deny that the body was found in the trunk of the car. That's certainly consistent with what the witness has told us. Ugh. Please, witness, go on with your testimony. I'll try. All you have to do is tell us only what you saw. Otherwise, the mean lady might yell at you again. Who is he talking about? Alright, I'll do my best. No. Well, Miss Foster, it looks like you've done it this time. Done what? Made a crucial mistake. A crucial mistake? Like what, Miss Faye? The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. You're saying you saw that, right? With your very own eyes? Yes, and? It's simple, Miss Foster. Take a look at the diagram. The place you claim to have taken the photo from that day is here. Do you see what I mean? Even if you try to see the car, this outcropping of rock is directly in the way. Ah! That's right, Miss Foster. From where you were standing, you could not have possibly seen the killer's car. Ah! I admit that the diagram shows a large outcropping of rock. However, it isn't so tall that it would stop her from seeing the car. But that's right. It's not high at all. I was able to see his car just fine. I'm so sorry, but that just doesn't wash. I believe it was the witness who presented this as evidence to the court, yes? This is the location that the photo was taken from. Your own photo tells the whole story. You can clearly see the left side of the bridge, but the outcropping that is being referred to is really more like a cliff. Ah! Your view should have been completely cut off by this cliff. But still, you claim to have been able to see the killer's car. No! Order! Order in the court! What is the meaning of all this ballyhoo? Your Honor, don't jump to any hasty conclusions. The fact that the escapee fled in a stolen car was reported on the news. After witnessing a murder, I'm sure you can appreciate the witness was very upset. She must have heard about the stolen car and convinced herself that she saw it. But she was repeatedly warned before stating her testimony. She was told to testify only about what she saw with her own eyes. Oh, Mr. Judge, what is it? I think I must have remembered things wrong. Hey, wait a minute! You can't just say that! Miss Faye, no one on the face of the planet is perfect. Yes, indeed. Quite a doubt to our witness here. What? That's not fair! Save the tears for later, kitten. Mr. Armando! Don't look back until the trial is over. Now is the time to go forward. But that wasn't fair! Okay, kitten, you need to relax. Then you need to remember the other kitten's testimony. The killer broke into the trunk of the stolen car and hid the body in there. So tell me, how did she know that? How did she know that he broke into the trunk? Aha! Well, Miss Foster, until you can explain how you knew that, you're going to have a lot of very suspicious people on this side of the courtroom. Well, witness? Well, I'm certain that he broke into the trunk because there were marks left on the trunk lid. I'm certain there were scratch marks from when he broke into it. What? Let me see that photo. It's true. These certainly look like scratch marks around the keyhole. It's obvious that this trunk has been broken open. Well, Miss Faye, are you satisfied? The judge is on her side. I can't make any mistakes here. What she just said, is there a contradiction in there somewhere? It doesn't work. Melissa Foster, it looks like you finally betrayed yourself. What? You said you were in a field taking photos of wild flowers, but even so, you knew about the scratches. The question is when? When did you get a chance to see those scratches? Finally! I finally got her! Ha! I'm getting pretty tired of waiting over here. Then perhaps it would be faster if Miss Faye explained herself. Your Honor, there's only one possible explanation. The reason the witness had seen the scratches was... There's only one way that the witness had the chance to see those scratches. Yes? What is it? Naturally, when she opened the trunk and stuffed the corpse in herself. The person who really hit the body in the trunk of that car was... Melissa Foster! It was you that did it, wasn't it? That's ridiculous! I could never! It was the man in the prison garb! He's the one that... Hi, Saturn. I don't think so, Miss Foster. If Mr. Falls had been the one that put the corpse in the trunk, he would have simply used the car key. There was no need to break it open. But he stole the car! He stole it from a young couple that had been waiting at a red light, which means that the key would have still been in the ignition. Oh, I see. Thank you for telling us about the scratches, Miss Foster. Without that, we never would have uncovered the truth. And it couldn't have been Mr. Falls that put the body in the trunk! No! Preposterous! He even suggests that the witness put the body in there. If that were true, then how do you explain the photo that she took? The corpse could only have been put in the trunk when the incident occurred. Why you always stream once a day and just disappear? Because I have other things to do? And then stream all day long? And we already know that at the time she was taking photographs. Now's your chance, Neo. Nuh-uh. Really? I do not stream all day! Finish this thing. On the contrary, I'm not so certain about that anymore, Miss Edgeworth. There's no need to think too deeply about it. What I'm saying is the shutter for this may not have been pushed by Miss Foster herself. You should. I should, but I don't. Let's take another look at this camera and see what features it has, shall we? It has a timer built into it, even a mini tripod. Why? It's almost as if she had brought this camera just to take this picture. Objection! What are you trying to say then, Miss Faye? That when the crime occurred, Miss Foster wasn't in the field as she claimed? Well, if she really did use the camera's auto timer, then the answer is yes, she was somewhere else. Exactly, she was not in the field. Would the defense please explain further? Listen, this is a crucial point. Where was Miss Foster when the incident occurred? And answering that question will also make clear Miss Foster's true identity. Well then, please answer this question. Where was she? Naturally, the witness was right here. But that's where the victim, Miss Hawthorne, was standing. Order! 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 Miss Faye, what on earth? Your Honor, if I may. After parting with the victim on the bridge, the defendant fled by car. This would mean that there was no time to put the victim in the trunk. In other words, if someone put the body in the trunk, it could only have been before the defendant met the victim. How asinine! Of course Mr. Falls met with the victim. The only person with the opportunity to put the victim in the trunk is the same man that killed her, Terry Falls! You still don't understand, do you, Mr. Edwards? By the time the witness's photo was taken, the victim was already dead. The person in the photo was not Valerie Hawthorne! What? I've never heard anything more ridiculous in my entire life. And who exactly is the victim in this photo? It's obvious, isn't it? It's your own witness. What? Good water. Excellent water. It's the only possible explanation. The woman that Mr. Falls met on the bridge that day was not Valerie Hawthorne. It was you, Melissa Foster. But me? Let's remember that it was raining and foggy on the mountain that day. Mr. Falls himself believed that the woman in front of him was Valerie Hawthorne. But the defendant knew Valerie Hawthorne very well. After all, she was the woman whose testimony helped get him convicted. But since then, my client has spent 5 hard years in a federal penitentiary. He couldn't remember exactly what she looked like anymore. You are just making this up as you go along. Where's your proof? I've got it all right here. This piece of evidence will blow this case wide open. At the time of the incident, Mr. Falls had forgotten what Valerie Hawthorne looked like. Mr. Falls had forgotten the victim's face. That's why he needed some piece of identification, namely this muddy scarf. It was Mr. Falls who requested that she wear this scarf to identify herself. That's already been proven by the note the victim left. In other words, as long as you were wearing a scarf like the act, anyone could have pretended to be Valerie Hawthorne. Well, what do you have to say to that, Melissa Foster? No! Where's Miss Foster? She's collecting herself in the lobby. It's obvious that Melissa Foster did it. She hid the body in the trunk and disguised herself as the victim. She set up the camera to snap a fake photo of them together. The only question is, why did she do it? Well, isn't that obvious? She's the real culprit. Ha! Well, we'll have to wait for Miss Foster to compose herself before we start again. Until then, this court is in recess. The defense and the prosecution are both to wait in their respective lobbies. Yes, Your Honor. Understood. Very well. This court is in recess. And now we begin. February 16th, 1:14 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 4. Mr. Falls, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to say thanks. You're real good. You really hooked me up. Thanks. We're almost there. Once I prove that she committed the crime. Yeah, but there's one more big obstacle we've got to get past. I'm on that multiverses grind right now. That's good. Obstacle? Yeah, motive. Why would Melissa Foster kill that policewoman anyway? Motive, huh? Anyway, we're still badly in need of information. Information? Right. What we need the most is info about this Melissa Foster herself. That's nice, that's nice. All we know is that she's a student studying literature. And one more thing. What is it? Well, the incident that happened 5 years ago, of course. The kidnapping murder case that Zebra Boy is on death row for. I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. Mr. Falls, in that case, tell us more about it. If you haven't noticed yet, I changed my profile picture to Jerry. Oh, I've noticed. About what happened 5 years ago. Okay, I trust you. I used to main Jake, now I'm maining Tom and Jerry. Okay. That day, 5 years ago, I dream of it. Every day. This picture reminds me everything. Bridge looks the same, just like then, 5 years ago. Like it could fall apart any minute. So it's been broken like that for at least 5 years. Ha! Sorry, buddy, but you could sound like that. Sound like the one that could fall apart in any minute. It's true. I did. I did kidnap her. 5 years ago. I kidnapped my girlfriend, Dahlia Hawthorne. Your girlfriend? Huh? Hey, hold on there. Did you say Hawthorne? The victim's last name. Dahlia Hawthorne. Valerie's little sister. What? Are you serious? The girl. Let her go! Shut up! Come closer, and I kill her! Sorry, but you're not going to get a chance. The detective back then was Valerie Hawthorne. At first I thought shooting someone for a kidnapping was crossing the line, but if it was to protect her little sister, I could understand why she did it. Wrong! No protect sister! Valerie betrayed me! Betrayed us! What do you mean she betrayed you? Everything. All lies. All make-believe. Kidnapping, too. A make-believe kidnapping? Dahlia, my girlfriend, my love, my teen angel. Ugh, did he actually say my teen angel? He's seen one too many soap operas. I do anything she says. Anything Dahlia says. Anything Dahlia says? Hold on a minute! What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by? Yeah, me and Dahlia. And Valerie, too. Valerie was in on it? Dahlia's family rich. Jewelry business. We get one jewel. That's what we thought. Me and Dahlia wrote kidnap note. We sent to her dad. Asked for $2 million diamond. Tell him make exchange on Dusky Bridge. We tell him Valerie make transfer because she knew detective. Having a police detective in your pocket is a useful thing, alright. In the end, you were planning on splitting the $2 million 3 ways, huh? Yeah, but that woman! That woman! Valerie, she do it for real! She shoot at me for real! Me and Dahlia! I was shot in an arm. Dahlia, she jumped in river. Jump? You don't mean she jumped on purpose, do you? I couldn't do it. I could never push her. Anyway, I blacked out. Wake up with police all over. And that's when they decided to give you the death sentence. I couldn't believe it. That woman, she betrayed me. That man, Terry Falls, he killed her. He threw her off the bridge. He threw my beloved sister into the roaring river 40 feet below. These 5 years, all I wonder is why? 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 Why did she lie? That's all I want to know. So that's why you called her. You wanted to hear the truth from Valerie herself. Yes, but I forget what she looked like, so I tell her to wear a scarf. I don't want to hurt her, just ask why. Why? Why did you lie? Why did you betray me? I just want to hear answer come from her mouth, that's all. So that's why. That's why you made a crazy escape like that. Just one thing, Zebra Boy. My senses are tingling all over. Tell me, Mr. Falls, where is it? Huh? Where's what? Come on now, kitten. The ransom. The $2 million diamond. Remember that now? Did you give it back to Pops? Did the police take it? I don't know. Huh? You don't know? No, really, I don't know. It's gone. With Dahlia. With Dahlia. That day on the bridge, Dahlia put it in backpack. Now gone. With Dahlia. Gone forever. To Eagle River. It disappeared with Dahlia, huh? Wait a minute! You can come back in now. We're about ready to go. Mr. Falls, just one more question. When you said with Dahlia, do you mean the diamond is still missing? Along with the body of Dahlia Hawthorne? Never found her. My sweet Dahlia. They never found her. Swallowed by river. Gone. Dahlia, my teen angel. Your teen angel. How old was she anyway? Just 14. But for 14? I guess you were robbing cradles before diamonds. She plans a fake kidnapping and disappears in the river with a rock worth 2 mil. Man, oh man, angels these days. Falls takes the fall and gets a one-way ticket to death row. Is Dahlia Hawthorne an angel, or is she really a... It's time, kitten. Looks like we have a few more aces up our sleeves now. You bet! The trading wheels come off now, Mia. You've got to strike while the iron is hot. That's one of my rules. Remember it. Now then, let's continue with the trial of Mr. Cherry Falls. Witness, are you feeling better? Yes, Your Honor. I'll try my best. You're a brave young lady. Not this again. I don't understand the defense lawyer wanting to get her client off the hook. However, to try to pin the crime on an innocent student is... What are you talking about? My witness is not the person on trial here. He's an innocent bystander who witnessed a violent crime. That's all. What possible reason would a girl like this have for murdering a policewoman? It's certainly hard to imagine this woman as a murderer. Her motive, huh? I figure that's what I need to establish next. Well, Miss Faye, do you have any evidence of a motive? Yes, of course, I think. Ha! Is you'll act as tame as a kitten. Mr. Armando, listen. Our lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. Smiling on the outside while your guts are twisted in knots is the mark. I'd like to say something. Some people here are suspicious of me, right? But that's why I at least wanted you, Mr. Judge, to know that it's not true. I see. You're such an honest and upstanding young lady. It looks like this witness is a real professional. What do you mean? Look at that 100-watt smile. That's when things are darkest for her. Click, she lights right up. Very well then. Let's hear what the witness has to say. I was out of the country until the year before last. Until I entered college, I had never even been to Eagle Mountain before, and I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer. Holding a grudge at killing the officer who testified against you 5 years ago, or kidnapping a poor girl, I just think the defendant is a terrible, horrible monster. Out of the country, eh? Precisely. Furthermore, she has no possible motive for committing murder. Really? Indeed. You're up to bat, kitten. Sharpen those claws and put on your best smile. You bet! Somehow I had to tie her to this case. A grudge? Well, the policewoman's testimony was crucial, wasn't it? Crucial in getting the defendant sentenced to death. Yes, and that's precisely why he had harbored such deep anger against her. So much anger that he forgot his own guilt. My client has always maintained that he's innocent of those charges. He seems rather forgetful, your client, I mean. Not only did he forget about what he did, but he forgot the poor policewoman as well. What do you mean by that? Your client. He forgot what the detective looked like, right? It's too bad for her that he didn't forget about her testimony as well. Well, she's right about that. Mr. Falls is kind of forgetful. You said he forgot what the detective looked like. What did you mean by that? Well, he couldn't tell who she was without some kind of identification, right? Quite right. That's why the bitch was wearing a scarf as identification. Why, if I had been wearing a white scarf that day, then he probably would have tried to kill me. True. He's clearly a bitter man. It's bad. Mr. Falls' reputation just keeps getting worse and worse. Sometimes it's best not to poke too deep. What should I do with that last statement? Your Honor, what the witness said just now was tremendously important. I'd like it added to the official testimony. How did you know that she was supposed to wear a white scarf? The prosecution has no objection. After all, the defendant is a killer and a mentally unbalanced one at that. The testimony only helps to further prove that point. No, that's not why I... Enough. Witness, if you would. My pleasure, Mr. Judge.
Objection!
How did you know she was supposed to wear a white scarf? It's true, Mr. Falls did give instructions to Valerie Hawthorne about their meeting. The note that she left said, wear white scarf for identification. Yes, what about it? Isn't it obvious? Doesn't it strike you as odd? That note was a secret piece of evidence. How is it that the witness knows about it? Ah! Order! Order! It is odd, isn't it? Well, Mr. Edgeworth... Ooh, handcuffs. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, did you show top secret evidence to the witness? Your Honor, I certainly never gave anyone permission to do such a thing. In that case, the only way that the witness could know about... Just a moment! Of course I didn't know about the note. It's just, I saw it when it happened, with my own eyes. When the victim went to see the killer, she used her own scarf to signal him. That's why I assumed that the signal was a white scarf. I suppose that makes sense. Come on, Mia, you can't let her weasel out of it that easy. Witness! Sorry, but your explanation isn't going to work here. But why? It's true, that's what I saw! Impossible. There's no way you could have seen the victim use a white scarf to signal him. You said several times in your testimony that the victim was wearing a scarf. A white scarf, correct? Yes, is something wrong? That's what I'd like to know, Miss Foster. Have a look at this. It's the victim's scarf. Ah! I'm sure people would disagree about what to call this color. However, it certainly is not white. You knew what the note said. She knew the contents of the note? No! It says wear white scarf for identification. That's the reason why you said it was white. Well, Miss Foster? No! Order! 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 Mr. Edgeworth, I'm waiting for an explanation! I'm quite sure this note wasn't leaked to the public, and yet, this witness knew exactly what the note said. At the time of the murder, the number of people that knew were quite limited. Terry Falls is one. The person who wrote the note, Valerie Hawthorne, is another. And finally, one more person. Did you say one more person? That's right, a person that no one would have expected. Have you figured it out, kitten? Yep! The third person that knew the contents of the note was... Dahlia Hawthorne! And that person is... Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? I've never heard that name before. Look at the victim's note. This is what it says. Talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time there is her name right there. What's this? So is this person, this Dahlia Hawthorne? The lady must be desperate if she's trying to bring the dead back to life. The dead? Dahlia Hawthorne was the victim's deceased younger sister. She was killed in a crime 5 years ago. Killed in a crime? You don't mean! Yes, she was kidnapped and killed by Terry Falls. You said she was killed, but was she really? What are you implying? Of course, people thought she had died 5 years ago when she fell off of Dusky Bridge and was lost in the Eagle River. However, her corpse was never found. She was declared legally dead 5 years ago. As far as the law is concerned, Dahlia Hawthorne is officially dead. But the fact remains that her body was never recovered. Dahlia Hawthorne was 14 years old 5 years ago. If she were still alive, she would be 19 now. Melissa Foster. I believe that's the same age you are. Ah! Even you couldn't. Miss Faye, you're not saying! But I am. That's precisely what I'm saying. This witness before us is the girl that was kidnapped and killed 5 years ago. This girl is in fact Miss Dahlia Hawthorne! What? Ha! Nice work. It's like tossing a grenade into a three-alarm fire. Unless you can tie all the loose ends together, there's nothing but a hit and run on it. I understand. If I can expose her true nature, I can turn this whole case on its head. Now's my chance to make Mr. Edgeworth squirm. Witness! Just who are you anyway? I didn't think it'd come to this. That's enough. You don't have to say any more, witness. Yes, I understand. What? Mr. Edgeworth, explain yourself. Your Honor, I have an admission to make. I honestly never thought the defense would pursue the matter this far. You don't mean! Yes, the prosecutor's office isn't filled with fools, you know. Naturally, we conduct full background checks on all our witnesses. What did he say? Ha! It looks like the kid knew. He knew her true identity from the get-go. No way! But then why? If you hadn't revealed her secret, he wasn't going to say anything about it. All he wanted was her testimony, so he made a little trade. Let me introduce you to the victim's younger sister, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. But, I thought she died 5 years ago! We thought so as well. But, well, as you can see... Why? Why did she hide her identity for 5 years? That has nothing to do with the current case. She was merely an accidental witness to a crime. Accidental? I don't believe that for a minute! For the last 5 years, she's been playing the role of victim! And now we find her acting suspiciously at the scene of another murder! Really, Miss Faye, I must say your strategy here is painfully obvious. You're trying to pin your client's crime on an innocent witness in order to win. At any cost. How dare you! Please, let us take a moment to think. 5 years ago, this girl was kidnapped and nearly killed. But even worse than that, 5 years later, Dahlia Hawthorne lost something much more precious. Her big sister. Miss Faye must be insane to even suggest that she'd murdered her. What?! I'm inclined to agree with the prosecutor's logic. Miss Faye, do you have any evidence to back up your assertion? What possible reason would this witness have for killing her beloved sister? Well, you see, I thought I was winning. But somehow he's turned it around on me. Ha! I think you need a little push in the right direction, kid. The defense is prepared to present evidence supporting our claim. Ah, that wasn't me! It was this guy! This crazy coffee addict! I think we've heard enough empty threats from you, old man. Ha! What makes you think they're empty, boy? Because your protege looked like she's sweating bullets. I am sweating bullets! Think you're in a tough spot, huh? Of course, aren't I? No. You just arrived at the moment of truth, that's all. Whether you win or lose, that's up to you. Up to me? Rashness of youth. How charming. It's coming from someone younger than me! Now then, let's not waste any more time. Miss Faye, what motive would this witness have for murdering her own sister, Valerie Hawthorne? The story starts after Terry Falls escaped. He called Valerie and told her he wanted to meet. This is the note she left. It says, talk to Dahlia. Tell her this time the whole truth must come out. Valerie Hawthorne gave Dahlia a warning. She told her she was going to reveal to the world the whole truth. The whole truth? There was a dangerously important secret between Valerie and Dahlia. That's the reason Dahlia felt she had to kill Valerie, to keep her mouth shut permanently. A terrific story, Miss Faye. If you like fiction, that is. Enlighten the court, Miss Faye. What was the secret that was so important? Where's your evidence? Dahlia and Valerie Hawthorne, and Terry Falls. There's only one important secret that connects them all. Oh yes, I know this secret. Your Honor, the defense would like to request further testimony. But what testimony? Regarding the kidnapping 5 years ago. We believe it will explain a lot of things, such as the nature of the important secret between the Hawthorne sisters. Ugh. Very well, I'll grant your request for further testimony. I know it will be painful for you, but can you enlighten us once more, my little maple leaf? Yes, I'll try, Mr. Judge. Putting on the old charm one more time, Dahlia. But this will be the last time you hide behind your womanly wiles. 5 years ago, I was kidnapped by Mr. Falls. The ransom price was a raw diamond. My sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Falls in the arm. That's when Mr. Falls tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money, so I decided to change my identity and start a new life. The kidnapping left her emotionally scarred. With her sister's help, she left the Hawthorne family and started all over again. And we're to believe after all that she murdered her sister? Preposterous. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Faye? Yes, Your Honor. As you've heard, the witness is still traumatized from the kidnapping. I'll ask you again to be extremely gentle in your cross-examination. Mr. Edgeworth got the jump on me again. Ha! If we're not allowed to fight, then let's twist some arms. Listen up, we still got that info, that ace up our sleeve. What info? Come on, kitten. Don't say you've forgotten already. The fact that the kidnapping 5 years ago was staged. That's right, it was a fake kidnapping. Terry Falls told us that in the lobby. I do anything she says, anything Dahlia says. What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by, yeah, me and Dahlia, and Valerie too. Yes, that's it! The fake kidnapping is her best shot, Mia. That's her secret. You say that Mr. Falls pushed you into the Eagle River. However, that's hard to believe. But it's true! I felt a push on my back! I'm certain of it! It was Mr. Falls! I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't clear enough. I shouldn't have said that's hard to believe. I should have said that's impossible. Impossible? I asked that the court recall the condition of Dusky Bridge, now and 5 years ago. That bridge hasn't changed one bit in these last 5 years. If someone had pushed you from behind as you have claimed, instead of being carried away by the river, you would have been smashed by the bedrock below. A most certain death. Do you understand now, Dahlia Hawthorne? The very notion that my client pushed you from behind is impossible! Ah! Your Honor, this event occurred 5 years ago. Why, for all we know, the water level of the river may have been higher back then. But it's 40 feet from the bridge to the river. A small change in water level wouldn't have made a difference. You're right. If the events occurred just as the witnesses testified, then the defendant couldn't have pushed the witnesses to the river. Young lady, what is the meaning of this? You see, Just a moment, Your Honor. It's true that the witness testified that the defendant pushed her into the river. However, she never stated that she fell from the back end of the bridge. What do you mean? After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Falls panicked. Therefore, he could have unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. If that's true, she would have fallen into the river. Well, Miss Hawthorne, is Mr. Edgeworth's explanation correct? Now that you mention it, I do remember now, when I fell off the bridge, my skirt got caught on one of the bridge's side wires. You can't be serious! Order! Order in the court! It seems this phase assault has finally reached its conclusion. Not now, Mia. This is no time to retreat. Unfortunately for you, this is just the start of this phase assault. What? I believe your reasoning was something like this, Mr. Edgeworth. After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Falls panicked. Therefore, he could have unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. However, once again, I'm forced to say that's impossible. Ridiculous! What's so impossible about it? Because your flawed logic contradicts the court record. Your Honor, all the answers are right here in this photo. Take a look at the wires supporting both sides of the bridge. They extend up to about 5 feet off the ground. It would be impossible to push someone off from there. No! But let's remember the size and strength of the defendant. Wires like this wouldn't be a problem for him. He could have easily picked up a 14-year-old girl and thrown her over. He was shot in the arm! So young and already so forgetful, Mr. Falls has been shot in the right arm. Ah! And more importantly, Valerie Hawthorne had her gun trained on him at point-blank range. Ugh! So, Mr. Falls throwing the witness off the bridge? That is clearly impossible. Ah! Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? Dahlia Hawthorne, you jumped into the Eagle River intentionally. What? What is this? Indeed, what do you mean by such a ridiculous remark? Yes, it's ridiculous. My sister was there to help me. She had her gun and handcuffs. She could have saved me. Jumping into a raging river like that would have been suicide. Perhaps, but still, that's exactly what you did. You're probably confident that you could handle the swift current. But even more so, the witness had a much more compelling reason for jumping into the river. Oh, then what was it? What was so important that she'd want to jump into the river? The witness is still alive. This fact alone explains everything. This is why she risked her life by jumping into the rapids of the Eagle River.
Take that!
5 years ago, something else disappeared along with Dahlia that day. The item that Valerie brought up the mountain with her. The $2 million diamond. Ah! No! It can't be! Yes, Dahlia had it all planned from the beginning. The $2 million, she was going to keep it all for herself. She forced Mr. Falls to help her fake kidnapping. At the last minute, she betrayed him and threw herself into the river, with the ransom tucked away safely in her backpack. Why, that's simply ridiculous! Order! 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 Your Honor, 5 years ago, the witness was only 14 years old! You really think a 14-year-old is capable of such a demonic plan? This woman is a demon. And there was one more person who helped make a demon out of her. Her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. You mean the victim was involved in the kidnapping plot as well? Well, she was a detective then! You're saying she participated in her sister's kidnapping? Precisely. I'm sure that it weighed heavily on her conscience for the past 5 years. This is the sole reason behind the victim's murder. What do you mean by that? On the day of the murder, after receiving the phone call from Mr. Falls, Valerie called her sister Dahlia, and then she told her what she was planning to do. Planning to do? She was going to tell the whole truth, as she wrote in her notes. That is what sealed Valerie Hawthorne's fate. That is when you hatched your demonic plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. A plan that would ensure neither of your accomplices to the kidnapping would talk. And that is why you killed your sister, Valerie Hawthorne. Who is that, laughing at a time like this? Forgive me, it's just hilarious. But witness, is that you? You amuse me, woman, Miss Mia Fey. You can certainly weave an exciting tale. Naturally, you have the evidence to back it up, don't you? Evidence? Evidence that I planned the kidnapping, of course. That at 14, I plotted it with Mr. Falls and my sister. Well, and one more thing. What happened to the $2 million diamond? If you can't provide evidence to at least show that. Well, Miss Fey? I don't know. What a joke. You, Miss Fey. Are you stupid or something? How can I prove a fake kidnapping that happened 5 years ago? I don't even have a decisive proof of Valerie Hawthorne's murder. Well, it seems that we've come to the end. To be honest, the witness's behavior does raise certain suspicions. However, I am forced to reject the assertions made by the defense. Of course you are. Is this it? Is it really over? The girl has made a fool of me and there's nothing I can do about it! Ha! Without evidence, the trial is over? Who decided that? But Mr. Armando! Come on now, kid. Haven't you figured out that you can make your own rules? For example, even if there's no evidence, there's still testimony. To testimony? On the day in question, Dahlia Hawthorne murdered her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. She hid her body in the trunk of Mr. Falls' stolen car and then went to meet with him. Disguised as her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. That's what you think, right? Yes, that's right. In that case, there's only one answer, right? There's only one person left who can testify about Valerie Hawthorne's murder. Since there's no proof, there's only one thing left to do. Who is the one person who can testify to that demon woman's crimes? Your Honor, the defense wishes to call a new witness. A new witness? Yes, we would like to hear the testimony of Terry Falls. The defendant? There's only one person that can shed any further light on the situation. Only one person that knows what Dahlia's role in the kidnapping was. Only one person that can say whether the person in the photo is Valerie Hawthorne, or whether it was in fact her younger sister Dahlia disguised as her. There's only one person who can solve this riddle once and for all. And that person is Terry Falls. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what is your take on this? Why not? The prosecution has no objection. Very well. Bailiff, bring the defendant to the witness stand. This is my last chance, Mr. Falls. My last chance to establish Dahlia's guilt. You're all I have left. Defendant, you heard everything that's been said up to this point, yes? I don't believe it. No way! Dahlia died 5 years ago. Valerie betrayed me. Mr. Falls, I don't know what she said to you 5 years ago, but one thing is clear. Dahlia is very much alive, and you were used for $2 million. That's not true! Mr. Falls, there's only one question I want the answer to. 2 days ago on Dusky Bridge, who did you meet? Was it Valerie Hawthorne, or was it Dahlia Hawthorne? Dahlia, did you betray me? 5 years ago, she promised, never ever betray each other. Terry? Dahlia! It's true! You are alive! You don't trust me anymore? That makes me sad. Tell the truth! The real truth! I believed in you! I shouldn't need to say it. You should already know. But there is one thing that I will say. My life is in your hands right now, Terry. Dahlia! I will allow Mr. Falls to testify once and once only. Well then, Mr. Falls, yours will be the final testimony in this trial. Witness! Ah! I'm sorry. I apologize. Water! Please, water! Can't talk. Need water. Ha! Oh well, I guess it'll have to be my coffee instead. At least it'll match the way he's probably feeling right now. Darker and bitterer than hell itself. That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. I was in front of Bridge. She wasn't there, so I waited on Bridge. I watched my car for Bridge. I never put no body in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked, then she left. That was Valerie. Not my Dahlia! Mr. Falls, you're covering for her. Do you think she would do the same for you? That's enough, Miss Fay. His last statement was a fitting way to end the final testimony of the trial. Well then, Miss Fay, please proceed with your cross-examination. Is this how you want it to end, Mr. Falls? Another guilty verdict to go along with your death sentence? There's only one person who can stop it. You, kitten. Who Terry Falls saw. But when you got to the bridge, no one had arrived, huh? So you waited on the bridge. You're sure of that? Yeah, I'm sure. You're sure, huh? Well then, I'm sure too, Mr. Falls. I'm sure that you're lying. Huh? What? 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 Oh, I would love to hear your rationale on this, Miss Faye. You want to know who arrived at the bridge first? Just look at this photo. It's perfectly clear. Obviously, the person that came first would be the one at the end of the bridge, right? But that's the victim at the end of the bridge. Precisely my point. In other words, Mr. Falls, you must have arrived at the bridge after she did. Mr. Falls? Please don't get so worked up. We just want the truth. I got there around 4 o'clock. It's true. I had somewhere to go. A special place. Did you go to this special place before you went to the bridge? Yeah, it's an old temple about 15 minutes from the bridge. 5 years ago, me and Dahlia, we promised each other. We swore we wouldn't betray each other. She brought a memento to represent our love. A memento? 5 years ago, I hid it under base of tree there. It's a special memory for me. This is it. This is what I went to get. This little bottle on a necklace is a memento? It's quite charming, but it looks empty. Your Honor, you heard what my client said. He arrived at the scene at 4 o'clock. But he then left his car unattended and walked away. He was gone for approximately 30 minutes. Ugh! With that much time, Dahlia Hawthorne could have easily hidden the body in the trunk of his car. No! Indeed, there certainly was enough time for it. I've still got a chance. Mr. Falls, there's no mistaking it. Ugh! Huh? Mr. Falls? That's enough. Please. A witness? I promised her 5 years ago. If it ever happens and we can't trust each other no more, then we're supposed to drink bottle. Ugh. No! Stop the trial! Your Honor! We need a recess! I was stupid. Wouldn't keep promise. So I did it. I drank this. No! We are so close! Just a little more! I was going to prove your innocence! No. Don't want that. Don't trust self. Maybe kill again. Kill sweet Dahlia again. Mr. Falls! Mr. Armando. Thanks for the coffee. Mr. Falls! And so my first trial ended. Suddenly and tragically. It ended with no winners, only losers. I ended up with a wound that cut so deep into my soul I thought it'd never heal. I'm sure it was the same for the young prosecutor as well. But one person, the true criminal, Dahlia Hawthorne, she left the courtroom with a secret smile on her demonically sweet face. Unforgivable. That witch. Mr. Armando! We were so close to the truth. You were just a little too soft, kitten. It's my fault! It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself! Don't cry, kitten. You're going to make my coffee all salty. I knew it! I knew I wasn't cut out for this! Mia. Don't you get it? You can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Mr. Armando! No matter how tough the case, no matter how bitter the memories, they always fade over time. Then you file them away and eventually forget them. 1 year later, in this very same courthouse, I myself got wrapped up in that case. Only after that did Dahlia Hawthorne get put on trial for her crimes. The verdict that was ultimately handed down to her was guilty. Guilty, of course. Naturally, when the verdict was read, she had a perfect angelic smile on her face. It was finally all over. At least that's what I thought at the time. Unfortunately, I couldn't have been more wrong. It's been 5 years, but now something has happened that's made me remember all this. And that brings episode 4 to a close. So tomorrow we shall start with episode 5 and be able to finally get towards the final finish of Trials and Tribulations and the end of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. So, thank y'all for watching. I am going to be ending the live stream here. Just need to save. So, thank y'all for watching. And as always, it's your host, TheAmariaShadow, saying long Z. And I'll see you for the next adventure. Goodbye, everyone!